So I've been filming all of these monthly roundup videos, particularly in relation to the low buy year that I want to have with regard to perfume specifically, but also it's extending into other things as well. And I was having a chat with Andreas from Service Fragrance a couple of weeks ago, and he shared with me the fact that he had a set of rules that he had to follow for his low buy year, which I think was a couple of years ago, or maybe it was last year, I can't remember. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. I've obviously been talking a lot today. And it occurred to me that I had never set out my low buy rules for the year sort of in a package for you guys. I've sort of just alluded to rules as I went along, and as it is, some of these rules have already changed. So I've just updated my rules today and thought that maybe I'll share them with you to see what you think, but also to get any feedback on other rules that you have for yourself that might be useful for me. So yeah, I only have 5. I didn't go too crazy because the more complicated I make it, the less likely I am to stick with it, I think. So I have 5 rules. First one's pretty obvious. If I buy a bottle, I have to declutter a bottle. That is the first rule, and that is the main rule to stick to. Even if I end up breaking all the other ones, that is the very base rule that I must stick to for the whole year. Rule number 2 is that travel sizes do count, but they can be grouped to declutter a bottle. So for instance, I think a couple of months ago, I bought a couple of little 6ml bottles and I decluttered 1 bottle for each of those. But then this month just gone, I had 2 10ml Libertine fragrances that I decided to group together and just declutter 1 bottle against those. So that is how I'm going forward from now on, because travel sizes can vary, but I'm pretty much classifying anything less than a 30ml bottle is a travel size. And the reason for that is that it's unlikely that I'm ever going to get a 20ml bottle of anything, although unless I go vintage, in which case they have some weird sizes in bottles and stuff, so I may end up with something like a 20ml. But generally for me, travel size is either a 10ml or an 8ml or a 6ml or something like that. So rambling. Rule number 3 is that I must try to match the value of what I'm decluttering with the thing that I have just bought. So for instance, if I buy a really expensive bottle, like the Xerjoff that I bought this month, I can't just declutter a cheapy bottle against that and call it a day. I have to try and match the value. So either I match the value by, and I don't have to match the value exactly, but as close as possible. I match the value by decluttering a more expensive bottle, or I have to declutter more than 1 cheaper bottle against that 1 bottle that I've purchased. Rule number 4 is that samples do not count, but I am trying to be mindful about how many samples I acquire in any given month, because let's face it, we all know that I have a bit of a sample problem. I've got loads and loads and loads of samples, and I am still not getting through them at any faster rate, despite trying to incorporate things like my sample snippets videos and trying to have a sampling day every week. It just doesn't always work. So I am kind of, if I must buy samples, I am trying to limit the amount of samples I buy to either 1 discovery set or 1 sort of packet of samples per month. And then finally, rule number 5, which probably should be rule number 2, because I think this is the other rule in the group of rules that I must stick to, is that if I can get a sample of a perfume, then I must get a sample of the perfume, and I must finish the sample before I buy a bottle of it. And it's not always possible to get a sample. So for example, this month just gone, Santal Spirit, I couldn't get a sample of that. Or maybe I could have asked my friend if he'd give me a sample of his before I bought it. But ultimately it wasn't super expensive, so I decided to just bite the bullet and buy the bottle. But Yeah, if I can get my hands on a sample of something, then I am obliged to sample it. If I can't get a sample, then I don't know, I guess I just have to do lots and lots of research. But if I do get a sample, I must use the sample in its entirety before I buy a bottle. And there are things that I have multiple samples of. For example, the Amouage fragrances, I think I have about 3 samples of Portrayal Woman right now. And I really like Portrayal Woman and I really want to buy a bottle of it. But I effectively have 6 mils of it already. That's a travel size. So I don't need to buy a bottle of it just yet because I have 6 mils worth to get through before I get to that point. So they're my rules for my 2021 low buy. I am obviously just focusing on perfume at this point, but there are other areas of my life that I feel like I need to curb the spending, and I kind of have already started with that. Plants was one thing. I was buying a lot of plants and now I'm propagating more and buying less. I have kind of figured out which plants I like the most. Monsteras, so that's a propagation that's going on in the background there. And I've got another one on the desk here. My Monstera is going nuts and I really love it because it's easy to grow and it looks beautiful. So, and I'm getting off track because I'm talking about plants and not perfume, but you get the idea. So plants and perfume were kind of the thing that I went a bit nuts on in 2020. And they're the things that I'm kind of trying to focus on, not buying too much of. I'm pretty good with clothes. I don't tend to buy that many clothes. I've spent a bit of money on clothes in the last couple of months just because I've upgraded a couple of pieces in my wardrobe to things that are really good quality and really nice. And I will be decluttering. In fact, I've filmed a massive declutter video on my wardrobe already, which I did, I think, on the first day of January, but I haven't uploaded it because it's not really anything to do with perfume. So, and I know that, you know, most of you are pretty cool about me posting other things on here. I've already had a request for somebody to go through my plants, which I will do. But I'm wondering if maybe I need to start another channel for that. I don't know. I feel like I just want to put it all in the one place because handling various multiple social media accounts as it is already proving challenging for me. So a Pinterest, an Instagram, a YouTube channel. Do I really want to throw another YouTube channel in the mix? I don't know. But at the same time, I am conscious of the fact that most of you come here for perfume, not for other things. So anyway, I am rambling. I hope you're all having a lovely Easter, although you won't be seeing this probably for a couple of weeks, so Easter will be a distant memory by then. But yeah, they are my rules. Let me know if you have any others that you can think of that would be useful, or just share the rules that you follow. I'd be really keen to hear what other people are doing and how they're tackling this whole low buy situation. And I know that for a lot of you, you're not technically on a low buy. Most of you are just more sensible than I am, and you don't need to have a low buy in order to restrain yourself. But clearly I need some help in this department. So I need to set myself some very strict boundaries and clear boundaries that I need to stick by. Thank you very much for joining me if you've stayed this long already, and don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.